Everyone, I'm Kristen DeTinio. I'm the Special Agent in charge for the ATF Chicago Field Division, and I'm here today with a number of my partners and colleagues, U.S. Attorney John Lausch, Chicago Police Department Superintendent David Brown, Chicago Fire Department Commissioner Richard Ford, and Commissioner Rosa Escareno. And FBI Deputy SAC Doug Beidler. So thank you for joining us today. The reason that we're here is to talk about the destruction that occurred in this city the weekend of May 30th through June 3rd. We know we experienced shootings, burglaries, and lootings, and specifically arson. The victims of these arsons were business owners and community members, those who have worked hard to provide the resources for all of our neighborhoods here in the city. What began as a peaceful advocacy on behalf of the community turned into an unfortunate and chaotic weekend. We are here today to appeal to you, the community, to assist us in identifying 18 persons of interest. We believe these people are responsible for the numerous arsons that took place, 53 arsons that we investigated that weekend, businesses, cars, and police vehicles. I'm here on behalf of a partnership, a strong partnership between local and federal law enforcement and the community. The ATF agents of the Chicago Field Division, in partnership with the Chicago Police Department, the Chicago Fire Department, and the FBI, are working around the clock to solve these arsons. Detectives, investigators, ATF agents, certified fire investigators, intelligence research specialists, and canine teams, along with the U.S. Attorney's Office, are working tirelessly to investigate every lead that we receive. We are not finished. I'll give you a little information about the ATF National Response Team. As we have said, and you have heard me say numerous times, partnership is key in investigating all crimes, including these arsons. The members of ATF's National Response Team bring specialized talent and resources to assist local police and fire departments in determining who is responsible for setting those fires. The expertise of the local departments, with assistance not only from the NRT, but also the community, will bring resolution to these investigations. The primary mission of the National Response Team is to concentrate ATF explosives and fire investigative resources and expertise on complex, large-scale fire and explosive incidents, in partnership and at the request of police and fire departments. Our National Response Team was here earlier this month for 2 weeks. They combed through every piece of evidence they could find, reviewed cameras, security cameras, and public information at no cost to the city of Chicago. In the case of bombings and arsons, NRT members gather evidence to support criminal prosecutions. They work in conjunction with other investigators to reconstruct scenes, identify the origin of the blast or the fire, and determine the cause of the incident. The expertise and resources brought here to Chicago are the exact same resources that ATF also brought to Minnesota while working to solve the arsons in their community. Solving these fires and rebuilding our neighborhoods is important to me, and I know it is important to all of you. As I said before, we are not finished. I implore you to act, stand up with the community that has stood up for you, and be our partner. If you have information that can assist in identifying any of these persons of interest, I ask you to contact the Chicago Police Department or ATF. Without community trust, we will not move forward, and without partnership, we can't build trust. So I thank you very much for your time. I turn it over to my colleague, U.S. Attorney John Lausch.
Thank you, Special Agent in Charge DeTinio. Good afternoon, everyone. It's good to see you. The U.S. Attorney's Office here in Chicago is working diligently with our federal and local law enforcement partners to investigate these significant arson cases. These fires appear to have been intentionally set during a period of civil unrest in our city. Unfortunately, certain individuals acting on the peripheral of peaceful protests appear to have started fires that caused extensive damage to public and private properties that put first responders and people in our communities at risk. These suspected arsons were set in various neighborhoods throughout the city of Chicago. from the downtown loop in River North area to the West Elston, Archer Heights, and Chicago Lawn communities on the southwest side, to West Pullman on the far south side, to Englewood and South Shore on the south side, and to Austin on the west side. Fires in other parts of the city are also under investigation, and we are working with ATF as well as our other federal law enforcement partner to investigate other instances of rioting, civil disorder, pharmacy lootings, bank ATM lootings, and other crimes committed during the unrest. Our office and our federal law enforcement partners, led by ATF on these arson cases, will continue to support the Chicago Police Department and the Chicago Fire Department in these important investigations. Today, we are asking for the public's support. We encourage community members to come forward with any information that could help us identify the individuals and the materials that are being shared with you all today. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to the Superintendent of the Chicago Police Department, David Brown.
Thank you, U.S. Attorney John Loss, and to ATF Special Agent in Charge, Christine DeTeneo. Thank you so much for your collaboration, for your partnership, and your commitment to helping all of us make Chicago a safer place to live, work, and play. The death of George Floyd in Minneapolis has forever changed our country and the institution of policing. The videos of Floyd's final moments are chilling to watch. Nationwide, people reacted by calling out loudly for change. Chicago police officers have been there on the front lines to protect peaceful protests, exercising their First Amendment rights. Others saw this opportunity to steal and vandalize businesses and property. In several cases, buildings and vehicles were senselessly burned. I am proud to stand with the U.S. Attorney and the ATF. I believe CPD's federal partnerships have never been stronger than they are today. I also want to recognize Chief of Detectives Brendan Dinahan and his team for all the hard work. CPD detectives scoured hours of surveillance video in search of images that you see here on the billboards. Working together, we have identified 18 persons of interest for arsons that occurred between May 30th and June 3rd. I asked the media here to share these images as part of our joint operation to compile it widely as possible. CPD and ATF need the public's help to identify these arsonists. Business owners throughout Chicago saw their hopes and dreams go up in flames with these fires. Communities have also suffered. Not all of these businesses will reopen. Many will remain blighted for years to come. Vacant storefronts make it more difficult for people living nearby to get the goods and services they sorely need. Burned out buildings spread a feeling of hopelessness as well in our neighborhoods. Passerby are hesitant to stop when they see burned out buildings. This only makes it more difficult for the surrounding business to turn a profit. There are those who might try to apologize for the actions of those that looted these stores, vandalized property, and set fires during the recent period of civil unrest. Tensions were high during this time. And of course, people are always more important than property. But make no mistake, people were hurt by the damage to property that took place. Their communities were hurt, and everyone suffers as a result. The individuals CPD and ATF have pictured here today need to be brought to justice. Store owners and neighborhood residents need to know that we appreciate all that our small businesses provide. Rebuilding efforts in Chicago have already begun. But if we are ever to truly heal, we need to be sure that those responsible for these arsons are brought to justice. I would now like to call Commissioner Rosa Escareno from the Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection to speak. Rosa?
Thank you, Superintendent. Good afternoon. Again, my name is Rosa Escareno. I'm the Commissioner for the Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection here in Chicago. And my department works very closely with thousands of businesses here in the city, not just as an advocate, but as a regulator. I work very closely with many of these agencies in enforcing our local laws as well. But importantly, over the last few months, I have spent the last few weeks walking through our commercial corridors that have been devastated as a result of the many acts that have taken place. But even before the civil unrest incident, our businesses had been shuttered for months, and they were already facing a crisis of closure, a crisis of unemployment, a crisis of seeing their lives investment really just take a toll. And so it was truly devastating that the actions and the criminal acts of a few have completely devastated many of our commercial corridors, many of which were already suffering. And so as I saw the dreams and hopes of businesses, as the superintendent stated, go up in flames, it was just extremely difficult. Many of them today continue to suffer the consequence of many of these senseless criminal acts that were committed by a few bad actors. And I am grateful for all the efforts of all the agencies here today to bring back some relief to our business community who are still very concerned about opening. If you go across the city, even though the civil unrest is gone, you will still see many businesses that are completely still shuttered and still boarded up, many of which are actually open, but they have continued to keep those barriers up because of their constant concern. So today's news, as I shared with about 100 chambers of commerce in the last couple of days, that police and local public safety agencies were making an attempt to identify these individuals. It brought relief. It brought them a sense of relief as they go forward. But we've seen hope across our entire city, not only because we at the city, specifically the mayor, was recently announced a $15 million Together Now fund dedicated to support some of the businesses that have seen their businesses shuttered. And we have also been working closely with the chambers of commerce to identify the number of businesses that have been out there. And so we look forward to identifying the businesses and really bringing additional support. I'm very thankful for today, but I will tell you that over the last few days and weeks, I have seen no greater partner than our public safety agencies. The superintendent and many of his beat officers have been circling the neighborhoods and making sure that they're actually working the commercial corridors and bringing some relief. So, as has been stated today, I ask our business community, you have video footage, you have information, post it to the website, call the police department so it can help address and bring to justice, as the superintendent has stated. Some of you have that video footage. I ask you to contribute and to participate so that we can continue to work together. The 1-2 punch of the last few weeks that our business community suffered was truly devastating. But what is to come is that we want to continue to revitalize our communities, strengthen the communities, bring jobs back, bring good businesses back. And so I ask you to work together with us And with that, I want you to know that we are all standing here in support of our residents, of our business community, and making sure that we do everything to identify those that very intentionally devastated our commercial corridors. So thank you all. And now